Your mind takes in everything you expose it to. Every notification, every scroll, every open tab, every unfinished conversation. And unlike your body, it does not have the natural signal to tell you it's full. Thank you for listening to Routine is Revenue. This is your place to build routines and bank results. I'm Ildikó Sealey, your routine and performance strategist, and I work with business owners who are sharp, capable, and quietly overwhelmed by the sheer volume of mental input their days demand. Now, this episode is for you if your thinking has been feeling slower, heavier, or more scattered than it should. If you are ready to manage what goes into your mind with the same care you give it to what comes out of it, let's go. This episode is Routine Reset 25, where we look at cognitive hygiene. This is the deliberate management of information input, managing your decision load and mental noise that keeps your thinking clear, your focus intact, and your mental capacity available for the work that actually matters. My guest in last week's interview episode, Abbas Mirza, knows what a mind in crisis looks like from the inside. And that's because he experienced a serious mental health breakdown. And from that experience, he actually built a practice around helping others prevent what he went through. One of the things that comes through clearly in his work is this: the mind does not collapse suddenly. It erodes gradually under sustained overload until one day it stops cooperating. And so many people are heading towards the breakdown. They are mostly operating with a higher cognitive load than they realize and a lower mental clarity than they could have. So just think about what your mind processes before you even start work. And score yourself as we go along. Phone checks first thing in the morning. Checking your email before your planned work. How about that quick social media scroll that actually stretched to 20 minutes? The background noise of 3 unfinished conversations. Unresolved decisions. Or a to-do list that's been growing since last week. How did you score? Because you see, none of these are catastrophic on their own, but they do add up. What is alarming is that they can add up before you have done a single hour of work your business needs from you. Because you see, cognitive hygiene is the practice of managing that input deliberately, so your mind arrives at your most important work with some capacity intact rather than already half spent. Now, as we covered with stress regulation in Routine Reset 4 all the way back at the beginning of March, you cannot eliminate the demands of running a business, but you can change how much of your mental resource those demands consume before the real work begins. Now, cognitive hygiene works through 3 practices, and they are input boundaries, decision batching, and noise reduction. Well, let's go through them one by one. Input boundaries. It means deciding when information comes in rather than letting it arrive continuously. The phone that is checked immediately on waking sets a reactive tone for the entire day. The inbox that is open all day means that your attention is permanently interruptible. So choosing specific windows for email, for social media and private messages, and protecting the spaces in between is one of the highest return changes available to business owners. Decision batching. It means grouping decisions together rather than making them ad hoc throughout the day. Every single small decision draws from the same cognitive resource as large ones. But by reducing the number of unscheduled decisions by planning ahead, whether that is your weekly template, your meal preparations, or your content calendar, they all reduce the load on the resource you need for strategic thinking. And finally, the noise reduction. It means auditing what you are consuming and asking whether it is actually serving you. You know, the news cycle that leaves you anxious without informing your decisions, the social feed that triggers comparison rather than inspiration, or the group chat that demands constant responses. These are not neutral activities. They are very, very costly on your cognitive load. And what we ignore is that they are optional. Now, as it happens, I'm in the middle of my own version of this right now. A couple of months ago, I worked evenings and weekends to break through on my social media strategy and new quiz. And while I made significant progress over a couple of weeks, the cognitive cost was real. I had no real boundary between work and rest. And after 2, 3 weeks of such heavy load, I turned my alarm off and let myself recover because I recognized that I'd been running without paying attention to my cognitive hygiene and that the thinking was starting to slow down seriously. Now, let's make no mistake, cognitive hygiene is not about doing less, but it's absolutely about protecting the mental capacity that makes everything else possible. Because when your mind is clear, your work is better, your work is faster, and it's less effortful. And on the other hand, when it's overloaded, the ripple effects are felt and everything costs more than it should. So what if your mental load keeps accumulating without management? Do you think that those notifications will keep arriving? Yeah. Surely the need for your decisions will keep stacking. But how about the noise in your head that keeps growing? But the dangerous part is that the quality of your thinking keeps declining so gradually that you adopt to it and mistake it, the diminished version of it, as normal. And over time, poor cognitive hygiene does not just affect your work output, but it also affects your judgment. And the decisions that matter most, your strategic choices, the relationship goals, the investment decisions, if you're not careful, they'll be made with a mind that has already spent most of its resources just on noise. Avas Mirza's message is so clear. The burnout does not announce itself. It builds quietly under sustained overload. But the protection is not dramatic. All it needs to be is a daily practice of micro actions. So please, manage your inputs like they matter, because your outputs depend on them. So let's have a quick look at when do you start treating your mental input with the same care you give to your mental output. I expect it will not be after the next busy period. It should be now. So set one boundary. Just make one change to when the phone gets checked. This is just one decision, fetched rather than made on the fly. Does your own head feel a little fuller after learning that? Well, let's declutter it. Visit routinerevolution.co.uk, where you can find out more about building good health routines into your life that perform part of your business infrastructure. Via the website, you can also book a no-commitment discovery call to explore what boundaries you've been putting off and how to expand on them. So please, guard your mind like the business asset it is. And remember, a healthier you makes a wealthier you.